Am I the a-hole for replying no when mother-in-law asked if I would apologize for my wife, her daughter? My wife lost her dad 9 months ago. We learned a few days later she was pregnant. For a few weeks, she had such a hard time coping with the fact she was expecting our first child after losing her dad, and the fact he would never get to meet his grandkids or live to be a living, breathing grandfather. She ended up seeking therapy because it was a struggle for her to get back on track. I was doing everything I could to support her. In that time, mother-in-law was around a lot. My wife was their only child, so mother-in-law leaned on her and sought out the comfort of having family. They grew closer than ever before, and slowly mother-in-law started spending less time with us. But she'd still stop by, and they wanted mother-in-law to be there for a 3D, 4D ultrasound my wife was booked in for. I was also there, of course. On the day of mother-in-law showed up with a man and introduced him as her boyfriend. She said she wanted to include him in such a special moment. My wife said he was not coming into the room with us, and they argued before my wife told mother-in-law to leave. Mother-in-law and my wife fought more afterward because my wife didn't say hi or anything to MIL's boyfriend, and because mother-in-law felt my wife should have been more open to including him. Things became tense because my wife told mother-in-law she couldn't be around him yet. Mother-in-law tried pushing and pushing, but my wife held firm. When my wife had our baby, she let mother-in-law know, and mother-in-law wanted her and the boyfriend to visit to meet their grandchild. My wife said she could come, but he was not welcome. A week later, just this past weekend in fact, mother-in-law dropped by to confront my wife over this. Mother-in-law told her she was being selfish, and how her boyfriend is lovely and would be a wonderful grandfather, and how she can't force them apart. My wife said that's fine. If she can't come without him, then she'd just have to accept it. Mother-in-law said she doesn't have to, just accept him and let our child have a grandfather. Accept having another older male presence in her life. My wife lost her temper and yelled at mother-in-law that the boyfriend is not our child's grandfather, is not anything to her, and nobody she dates will ever be able to fill those shoes. Then my wife left the room and went to cry. She wanted some space, so I gave it to her and told mother-in-law she needed to leave. Mother-in-law wouldn't leave at first, and then she goes, "I suppose you'll apologize for her now." And I just said no, nothing else, just no. And then I was able to get her to leave. She made some kind of angry face at me and told me I didn't need to be so rude about saying no, that I didn't need to mock her. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You don't bring a boyfriend to meet the family at an ultrasound. Even the boyfriend should have known that. The MIL's comments make it seem like she's trying to fill in the void that the Phi-L's passing left, and she's doing it quickly. I hope she's not rushing into things. If your mother-in-law wants to introduce the new boyfriend to your child, she needs to take the time to introduce him to you and your wife away from the kid. And based on what's happened so far, it's going to take a lot of time. Don't apologize to your mother-in-law. You should have just laughed at her comment and told her to get out. I feel bad for mother-in-law. She lost her partner and is lonely and wants to date again. But she's a fool. That is not how you introduce your boyfriend to your daughter, and you can't make him a grandfather less than a year after she lost her father. She's moved on very fast, if she only started dating after dad died. Mother-in-law loses all sympathy for how she is handling it and lashing out at her daughter, who is also grieving and very hormonal and sleep-deprived. Yeah, my grandma got a new boyfriend after my grandfather died, but that was years later. He is papa to all the other grandchildren because they were born later, and he was considered family by then. I now call him Papa, his name. He doesn't try to fill the void as dad or grandfather for my dad and his siblings plus me. He is very much considered like a dad to my father, at least. My grandfather died when he was 22. My grandma then passed, but he is still our family. A couple years later, he started dating this lady. She is just the sweetest. She doesn't try to fill the role, but my God, she deserves the title. Some of us do use Nana, her name, every once in a while. I try to remember, but sometimes forget. But she helped me heal and deserves the world. OP, not the a-hole. Mother-in-law wanted to bring a stranger into your wife's ultrasound, and that guy was apparently also fine with it. That's messed up. Not the a-hole, and it sounds like you don't need her around. Yeah, gotta question the guy here too. Why was his answer not, "Wait, fucking what"? No, I don't want to meet your daughter for the first time at her ultrasound for her first child. What the fuck? Seriously, I don't know why someone would think that's in any way appropriate and wouldn't want to associate with someone who did. Right? What the fuck? When my daughter was pregnant with her first, I took her to an appointment. When she went back for the ultrasound, I stayed in the waiting room. I told her I'd go back if she wanted me to, but I was fine staying in the waiting area. I gave birth to her, and even I didn't expect to be in the room. This dude and the mom are off their rockers. Am I the a-hole for calling out my mom for ruining our stuff by always bringing her stepkids in front of her stepkids? My mom got married 2.5 years ago when I, 17 female, was 14. She knew her husband for almost 3 years before marrying him, and I met him and his kids 2 months before they got married. From the time they moved in with us, day before they got married, my mom has changed and has neglected to give me one-on-one time. Whenever we plan anything now, she brings her stepkids, 10, 8, and 7. She's always trying to force me to join her and them for grocery shopping or fun shopping dates. We already have time we spend all together. Family dinners at the table each night, family movie nights, family days out. But she insists on including them even when I have asked or told her I wanted it to be just us. Sometimes she'll agree to it being just us, and then gets them ready to come with us, and acts like it's oh so great and exciting. I have tried 3 different times to advocate for us to have one-on-one time. She'll take her stepkids out, just them. They get one-on-one time with their dad and 3-on-1 time as their sibling group. But I can't get the one-on-one time with my mom. I pointed this out, and she told me how much they love spending time with us, and how they want to spend more time with me, because they look up to me. I asked her about what I want and what I'd love. She told me, I can't say I don't enjoy the time we spend with them. And I said, I can say that because it's true. I said, occasionally is fine. But all the time, I told her she was making me not want to be around them at all. It feels like they intruded on our relationship, and she makes me feel like they're her priority. None of this made a difference to anything. I turned 17 3 weeks ago, and my mom surprised me by bringing them along to what used to be a mom and daughter ice cream birthday treat. And we had this from the time I was 2 and my dad was alive, and we continued after he died until COVID. I showed up and saw they were there, and I walked out, which upset my mom, and I refused to tell her why I walked. I left her to figure it out. So then last week she told me she realized I was serious about feeling like they were intruding, so she wanted to make it up to me another try at our ice cream tradition. Because she came to me, I decided I would give her a chance to do better. But when we were ready to leave, she called the kids to come join us. I told her to forget it, and Mom said no. I told her she doesn't get to say no. That I am sick and tired of her including them in everything. That I am sick of her prioritizing their feelings and their wants over mine. I told her I am done. That she doesn't need to try including me anymore. And I'm not going to let her ruin more of my time with this shit. Her stepkids heard everything. I heard them ask my mom questions when I went up to my room. Afterward, Mom told me she and her husband was disgusted I would do that in front of them. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, but your mom definitely is. You tried talking to her directly in private, then she broke her word to have a one-on-one ongoing tradition with you. It is not good the kids heard you, but that is really on your mom for breaking her word to you. Good luck, OP. When you turn 18, make sure you have a plan going forward and don't look back. Next time your mom tells you you shouldn't have said it in front of them, reply, "What was I supposed to do? I never see you without them." I am all about malicious compliance. OP, next time Dad is taking any of the kids for one-on-one, grab your coat and go with them. If he says no, tell him that you know how much all of them look up to you and that you want to spend as much time with them as possible. Then you take that no to Mom, whether he lets you go or not, and tell her that stepdad's actions are disgusting because he doesn't want me to spend every moment of the day with my step-siblings. Plus, he told you no, and anything else he may say, in front of the younger kids. I would take it a step further. Mom's stepdad would never have another one-on-one or one moment unless they are sleeping because all of us would be together at all times. Train the younger ones to do this, and even when you leave, they won't have peace. Not the a-hole, but none of this is the kid's fault. This is 100% on your mom. She's not putting their feelings first. She's putting her feelings first. She gives the impression she wants to be their mother. She may also be lying to the kids, just as she is you. Might explain why the kid's starting asking questions. They're not at fault here. Let's keep that in mind. Your mom is doing all of you wrong. I'm sorry you're in this position. The kids are asking questions because new mommy says, "You're invited," and OP said, "You promised I'd have time without you." They're not asking questions because of anything else.
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to see more interesting videos.